also on International Women's Day. Can I ask you, I mean, the theme this year is about accelerating progress, and it is important that we acknowledge progress.
Yeah.
What does International Women's Day mean to you?
When I started at the bar 20 years ago, it had happened. A judge, as I was a young barrister, he told me to sit down and he wouldn't speak to me. He spoke to my instructing solicitor, who was a man. 20 years later, fortunately, that sort of thing in the courtroom wouldn't happen today. It is recognising women. It is recognising the qualities, the qualifications, and equality in what we do. And I think that progress in that direction has to be celebrated because it's hard fought. Women are now being acknowledged in the courtroom. They're being acknowledged as the wonderful practitioners that I have so many women colleagues. And we still have a way to go. There's still an existing inequality, if I can put that delicately. And I think we still have ways to go, but days like today where we can get together and we've got a sisterhood and celebrate that.
If you did have to say the one thing, well, you know, I mean, obviously there's many different things that we can say would be the opening for closing the gap. But I guess given your area of expertise when we talk about family and criminal law and your ability to have an influence in that area, is there a particular area for you that you're really committed to, you know, stepping into and having an impact in?
I think it's the improvement for access to justice for women. Women who are in domestic violence situations, and that's something that I certainly want to look further into, is women are disempowered by domestic violence. And by being disempowered, they're not only disempowered physically, they're disempowered emotionally, spiritually, financially. And access to what they need to re-empower themselves and find, and often that is to find their way to be able to access the justice system.
Yeah.
And I find it's really difficult out there for a lot of women.
Yeah, I mean, in some respects, you don't really want to be in a position where you are to have to see any women. I mean, at the end of the day, we want women, you know, it's like, wow, actually, it would be nice if
women are safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Safe in their homes.
Yes.
And then, and if they're not safe in their homes, there's somewhere they can go.
Yes.
And there are places that are set up. I've learnt today, unfortunately, I was listening on the radio this morning that there were meant to be 500 workers appointed in the Commonwealth to be able to work in domestic violence, to be able to provide these sanctuaries for women. And apparently today there's only 2 out of those 500, even though it was funded.
Wow.
So we do have a lot of work to do. And we do need to make those empowered listen, because this is a very important subject.
Yeah.
Too many women are getting hurt.
Yes. I do think it's one of those things that you don't hear. Even though you hear, it's almost like it's too far removed.
Yes.
Until it's personal.
That is absolutely correct. And it's one of those areas where it's so easy to look the other way until you know somebody.
Yes. Well,
in
fact,
that situation.
You know, one of the questions I want to ask a little bit later tonight is, what do we need to do as a society to notice? Like, what are the signals that those of us need to look for in someone else?
Now, that is a question for thought.
Great. We'll come back to that in our next conversation.